We finally made it. Today is day number 1 of the National Sew a Jelly Roll Day sew along with sunflower quilts. And I'm Jamie showing you how to make this super fun quilt that goes together really fast. This video will share steps number 1 through 4 of the pattern that is coming out for free on Saturday the 20th. But I'm going to show you how to make it first. So if you want to sew along with me, I will have all of the steps ready for you. Step number 1 is to choose 14 jelly roll strips. These are going to be for the square blocks that you see in the final pattern. And I personally like to choose the more simple prints for these. There are a couple of the big prints because of how the jelly roll was made with 2 of each of the strips. But I normally for this pattern will choose the more simple prints. I feel like it just stands out a little better in the final quilt top. But you're going to take 13 of the 14 jelly roll strips, so put one aside. We have different cutting instructions for that. And I like to cut all of my strips at the same time. It makes me more efficient. I feel like they're all cut the same a little bit better, and I line them up this way. Now, if you are new to sewing, this makes you nervous cutting them all at the same time, by all means, cut them one at a time. But this is how I do it. So you're going to take all 13 strips, line them up. I double stack them. So like these are rows of, let's see, probably 3 or 4 each. And I take my rotary cutter and my ruler. I line the ruler up with the bottom edge of the bottom strip, and then I line it up with the top edge of the top strip to make sure that it is square, and I get those selvages cut off because we don't need them. Each strip is still folded in half just the same way that it came out of the jelly roll, and this allows you to cut 2 pieces at a time, and I'll show you what I mean in more detail here in a second. Step number 2 is to cut 4 2.5 by 6.5 inch pieces and 6 2.5 inch square pieces. So from each strip, you need 4 2.5 by 6.5 inch pieces and 6 2.5 by 2.5 inch squares, which is what I'm cutting now. And again, my strips are folded in half, so I am cutting 2 pieces at a time. So each of those sets, as you can see, has multiple pieces in it, and this just helps me cut more efficiently. But again, if this makes you nervous, by all means, cut one at a time. You'll still get the same result. But if you're new to quilting, this is a fun tip on how to cut things more efficiently. You just do it in groups, line them up. Here I am now cutting the 2.5 inch squares. 4 of them will be used for the block, the outer block, and 2 of them will be used to mix and match the center squares in that block. And with this last cut, I have now completed all 13 of the jelly roll strips from step number 2. This next piece is step number 3. It's taking that last single jelly roll strip and cutting as follows. You will need 2 2.5 by 6.5 inch pieces and 3 2.5 inch squares. So again, cut that selvage off, making sure your lines are lined up with the bottom part of the strip. And again, if you're new to quilting, when you're cutting with a rotary cutter, before you set that sucker down, please close it so you don't hurt yourself. Ask me how I know that. Here I'm cutting the 2.5 by 6.5 inch pieces, only needed 2 of those. And then I'm cutting the 3 2.5 inch squares. Side note, I actually cut 4, so I have 1 extra to play with. That way, in case I mess up something or I like this print better than a different print, I can mix and match it in. And you should have 27 2.5 inch squares set aside for the center blocks and 54 2.5 inch squares and 54 2.5 by 6.5 inch pieces for the actual blocks. Come back for part 2 later today, where I will show you how to assemble each of the 27 square blocks.